Ambassador Zix Moore clicked his mandibles in what humans had come to recognize as the Keon equivalent of an eye roll. "You can't possibly be serious," he said, his voice a mix of skepticism and irritation. The holographic display in the center of the Galactic Senate chamber flickered with the statistics Captain Jenna Thompson had just presented. "These statistics must be fabricated," Zix continued, his four eyes narrowing as he scanned the data. Jenna leaned back in her chair, a smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. As Earth's military liaison to the Galactic Senate, she'd grown accustomed to the disbelief. "I assure you, Ambassador," she said calmly, "every number in that report is meticulously documented." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Would you like me to provide the raw data? We have death records, battle logs, and even video evidence." The chamber erupted into murmurs. Representatives from a dozen species exchanged glances, their expressions ranging from curiosity to outright disbelief. The Keon ambassador straightened his exoskeleton, his mandibles clicking again. "Very well, Captain. Show us this evidence. But know this, if this is some human trick, Earth standing in the Galactic Senate will be severely compromised." Jenna nodded, her expression unflinching. She tapped a command into her datapad, and the holographic display shifted. Battle footage began to play. Humans, outnumbered and outgunned, pulling off impossible victories. The room fell silent as the footage rolled. The holographic display showed a grainy video of a human soldier, clad in battered armor, standing atop a crumbling fortification. Around him, the battlefield was littered with the wreckage of alien war machines. The soldier raised a weapon, a crude, human-designed railgun, and fired. The shot pierced through the energy shield of a Keon battle tank, causing it to explode in a fiery blast. The Senate chamber was dead silent. Even Ambassador Zix Moore seemed momentarily stunned. Jenna took the opportunity to speak. "This footage is from the Battle of Tau Ceti IV, where a single human platoon held off an entire Keon battalion for 72 hours. They were outnumbered 50-1. A murmur rippled through the chamber. The Varaxian delegate, a towering insectoid with iridescent wings, raised a clawed hand. "Captain Thompson, are you suggesting that humans are superior warriors?" Jenna shook her head. "Not superior, Ambassador, just unpredictable. Humans have a unique ability to thrive in chaos. When the odds are stacked against us, we don't give up. We adapt. We improvise, and sometimes we do things that even we can't explain." The Varaxian tilted its head, its compound eyes glinting. "Explain this adaptability." Jenna smiled. "Allow me to show you another example." She tapped her datapad again, and the display shifted to a new scene. The holographic display now showed a barren moon, its surface scarred by craters and littered with debris. A small human outpost was visible in the distance, its lights flickering weakly. Suddenly, a massive alien warship descended from orbit, its shadow engulfing the outpost. Jenna paused the footage and turned to the Senate. "This is Outpost Gamma 9, a remote research station on Luna Prime. It was attacked by the Zorath Collective, a species known for their overwhelming firepower and ruthless tactics." The Zorathian delegate, a sleek reptilian figure with shimmering scales, hissed in amusement. "And yet the outpost still stands. How curious." Jenna smirked. "It stands because of one human, Corporal Marcus Rex Callahan." She resumed the footage. The camera zoomed in on a lone figure standing outside the outpost, holding what appeared to be a makeshift weapon, a fusion of alien tech and human engineering. The Zorathian warship fired a plasma cannon, the blast heading straight for the outpost, but Rex didn't flinch. He raised his weapon, a device that looked like it had been cobbled together from spare parts, and fired. The plasma blast was deflected, ricocheting back at the warship and striking its hull. The Senate chamber erupted in gasps. Ambassador Zix Moore's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. What was that?" Jenna's smirk widened. "That, Ambassador, was a hold my beer moment." The Varaxian delegate leaned forward, its wings buzzing with curiosity. Hold my beer moment? Explain. Jenna chuckled. It's a human expression. It means that when things seem impossible, someone steps up and says, "Hold my beer, I've got this." And then they do something extraordinary. The footage continued, showing Rex single-handedly disabling the warship's weapons systems using nothing but his improvised device and sheer audacity. The Zorathian delegate's scales turned a pale shade of green, a sign of shock. Jenna paused the footage again. This is just one example. Humans have a knack for turning the tide when all hope seems lost. And that's why, Ambassador Zix, you should never underestimate us. The Galactic Senate chamber was in an uproar. Delegates from every species were talking over each other, their voices a cacophony of disbelief, awe, and frustration. Ambassador Zix Moore slammed his clawed hand on the table, silencing the room. "This changes nothing," he declared, though his mandibles twitched nervously. "One human's actions do not prove your species' worth. The Galactic Senate cannot base its decisions on anecdotes." Jenna raised an eyebrow. "Anecdotes? Ambassador, this is just one example. Shall I show you more?" She didn't wait for a response. With a tap on her datapad, the holographic display shifted again. This time, it showed a massive space station under siege. Alien warships surrounded it, their weapons trained on the station's fragile hull. But then, a small human vessel, a retrofitted cargo ship, appeared on the screen. It weaved through the enemy fleet with impossible precision, dodging plasma fire and launching counterattacks. The Varaxian delegate's wings buzzed with excitement. "Is that a human pilot?" Jenna nodded. "Lieutenant Sarah Viper Nguyen. She single-handedly saved the station by outmaneuvering an entire fleet. And she did it with a ship that was barely spaceworthy," the Zorathian delegate hissed. "This is absurd. Humans are not capable of such feats. There must be some trickery involved." Jenna's expression hardened. "There's no trickery, Ambassador. Just human ingenuity and determination. And if you still doubt us, I have more evidence to present." The next footage showed a desert planet, its surface scorched by twin suns. A human settlement was under attack by the Krill, a species known for their swarm tactics. The Krill descended upon the settlement like a living storm, their numbers overwhelming. But then, something unexpected happened. The humans didn't retreat. Instead, they launched a counterattack using improvised explosives and guerrilla tactics. The footage showed a group of human engineers rigging the settlement's power grid to create an electromagnetic pulse, disabling the Krill's drones and turning the tide of the battle. The Krillian delegate, a small insect-like figure, let out a series of clicks. This is impossible. The Krill do not lose." Jenna crossed her arms. "They do when they're up against humans." The Senate chamber fell silent once more. Even Ambassador Zix Moore seemed at a loss for words. Jenna seized the moment. "Humans may not have the advanced technology or the numbers of other species, but we have something they don't, the will to survive. And when pushed to the brink, we'll do whatever it takes to win." The Galactic Council, a subgroup of the Senate's most influential delegates, convened to discuss Jenna's presentation. The debate was heated, with some arguing that humans were a threat to the established order, while others saw them as valuable allies. Ambassador Zix Moore was firmly in the former camp. "Humans are unpredictable," he argued. "They defy logic and reason. Allowing them a greater role in the Galactic Senate could destabilize everything we've built." The Varaxian delegate countered, "But their unpredictability is precisely what makes them valuable. They've proven time and again that they can achieve the impossible. We would be fools to ignore their potential." The debate raged on for hours, but in the end, the council reached a decision. Jenna was called back to the chamber to hear their verdict. The Varaxian delegate stood to address the Senate. After careful consideration, the Galactic Council has decided to grant Earth a provisional seat on the Senate. This decision is based on the evidence presented by Captain Jenna Thompson and the demonstrated capabilities of the human species. Jenna's heart swelled with pride, but she kept her expression neutral. Ambassador Zix Moore looked furious, but he said nothing. The Varaxian continued. However, this seat is provisional. Earth must prove that it can contribute to the Galactic Senate in a meaningful and responsible way. Failure to do so will result in the revocation of this privilege. Jenna nodded. Thank you, Ambassador. Earth will not let you down. Earth's first mission as a provisional member of the Galactic Senate was a diplomatic one. A conflict had broken out between the Krill and the Zorathians, and the Senate needed a neutral party to mediate. Jenna was chosen to lead the mission. As she prepared for the journey, she couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The Krill and the Zorathians were both volatile species, and the stakes were high. But Jenna knew that this was Earth's chance to prove itself. The mediation took place on a neutral space station orbiting a gas giant. Jenna stood between the Krillian and Zorathian delegates, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to their aggressive posturing. The negotiations were tense, with both sides accusing the other of treachery. But Jenna's patience and diplomacy eventually paid off. She proposed a compromise that satisfied both parties, ending the conflict before it could escalate further. The Galactic Senate was impressed. Even Ambassador Zix Moore had to admit that Jenna had handled the situation well. Earth's next test came in the form of a crisis. A rogue asteroid was on a collision course with a populated planet, and the Senate needed a solution fast. Jenna volunteered Earth's resources, proposing a daring plan to divert the asteroid using a series of strategically placed explosives. The plan was risky, but it worked. The asteroid was diverted, and the planet was saved. The Galactic Senate hailed it as a triumph of human ingenuity. Earth's provisional seat on the Galactic Senate was made permanent. Jenna was hailed as a hero, and humanity's reputation soared. Ambassador Zix Moore, though still skeptical, had to admit that humans had earned their place among the stars. With its seat on the Galactic Senate secured, Earth entered a new era of prosperity and influence. Humans became known as the species that could achieve the impossible, the ones you called when all hope seemed lost. And as Jenna looked out at the stars from the deck of her ship, she couldn't help but smile. Humanity had proven that even in a galaxy full of advanced species, there was no substitute for a hold-my-beer moment.